The villagers said the strange animal only came out at night. It scattered farms, spoiled foods, scratched the walls, and disappeared before sunrise. Nobody knew where it came from. But one night, under the cold moonlight, a mother followed the sound into the forest, and what she saw nearly stopped her heart. The animal standing near the river had her daughter's eyes. In a quiet village in northern Africa, there lived a woman named Maryam. Maryam was loved by everyone. Every evening, children filled her compound. Some came to eat the roasted granules she shared. Others came to listen to the moonlight stories she told with a smile on her face. The women in the village respected her kindness. The men greeted her with honor. But behind her smile was a deep pain she carried alone. Maryam had been married for many years, yet she had no child. Unknown to the villagers, Maryam and her husband had secretly traveled to the city hospital long ago. After many tests, the doctor revealed something painful. The problem was not from Maryam. Her husband could not father children, but Maryam kept the secret. She did not want people to laugh at her husband, so she stayed quiet while the blame rested on her shoulders. At first, the villagers only whispered quietly, but as the year passed, the whispers became louder. One hot afternoon, Maryam's mother-in-law stormed angrily into the compound. "Where is that woman?" the old woman shouted. Maryam quickly stepped out. "Mama, good afternoon," she said respectfully. "What is good about the afternoon?" the old woman snapped. "For years you have brought shame into this family." Maryam lowered her eyes. Her husband stood nearby in silence. That silence hurt her more than the insults. The old woman pointed at her angrily. "If you do not become pregnant soon, leave my son's house." That night, Maryam sat alone outside her room. Tears rolled quietly down her face, not because of the insults, but because the one man who knew the truth had refused to defend her. The next morning, Maryam's childhood friend came to visit her. "My sister, why are your eyes swollen?" the friend asked gently. Maryam tried to hide her pain at first, but later she explained everything. Her friend listened carefully before moving closer. "There is an old herbalist deep inside the forest," she whispered. "People call him Baba Jigi Jigi." Maryam frowned immediately. "You know I believe in God," she replied softly. "And who created the house of the earth?" Her friend answered. "Many women have gone to him without children and returned pregnant." For 3 days, Maryam refused. Finally, before sunrise one morning, she followed her friend into the forest. The journey was long and quiet. Deep inside the trees stood a crooked hut, covered with red clothes and old cowries. Outside sat an old man with white hair and sharp eyes, Baba Jigi Jigi. The old herbalist looked at Maryam carefully before she spoke. "You seek a child," he said calmly. Maryam froze. The old man slowly pointed towards a dark river hidden among the trees. "For 3 nights, you will bathe in that river before dawn," he said. Maryam obeyed. On the 3rd night, after she stepped out of the cold water, shaking, Baba Jigi Jigi spoke again. "You will carry your child," he said. Maryam burst into tears of joy, but the old man raised his hand slowly. "The child will not come without a price." The air suddenly felt cold. Maryam's smile faded. "What do you mean?" she asked quietly. The old man stared into the darkness of the forest. "The spirit connected to this child walks like a hyena beneath the moon." Maryam's heart beat slowly. "The child will live normally during the day," Baba Jigi Jigi continued. "But when the child grows older, the spirit will begin to claim her at night." Maryam trembled with fear. "There must be another way," she whispered. "There is none. The spirit is giving you a child since your husband cannot father a child." The forest became silent. Then the old man asked her one final question. Do you still wish to become a mother? Maryam thought about the shame, the loneliness, the insults, and the empty years. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Yes, she whispered. Months later, Maryam became pregnant. The whole village celebrated. Even her mother-in-law danced happily in the marketplace. And when the baby girl was born, Maryam named her Susan. Susan grew into a beautiful, gentle child. She loved singing, loved helping people, and she loved sitting beneath the moonlight at night. But as Susan approached the age of 15, strange things began to happen. Every morning, villagers woke up to destroyed farms and scattered food. Deep scratches appeared on doors and trees. Animals disappeared mysteriously during the night. Fear slowly spread around the village. Then one night, Maryam woke up and discovered Susan was missing. She carried a lantern and followed strange footsteps towards the river. And there, under the moonlight, she saw it. A large hyena standing near the waters. The animal slowly turned towards her. Its eyes looked painfully familiar. Maryam froze. Susan, she whispered. The hyena stared at her for a moment before running into the darkness. From that night onward, Susan could no longer control the course. Every evening she disappeared into the forest. The villagers soon discovered the truth. Fear filled the village. Some people wanted Susan chased away. Others believed she carried evil. Maryam became afraid for her daughter's life. So before dawn one morning, she secretly led Susan far away through the forest to another village. There is still good inside you, Maryam said, while holding her daughter's hand tightly. Never forget that. Susan cried as her mother walked away. In the new village, Susan tried to live quietly, but the strange event followed her there too. Farms became damaged at night. Food disappeared. People became afraid. The villagers formed watch group, but nobody could catch the mysterious animal. One day, Susan met a man named Samson. Samson was calm, kind, and prayerful. Unlike others, he did not judge her. Slowly, they fell in love. For the first time in many years, Susan felt hope. As time passed, Samson decided he wanted to marry her. But one evening, while they walked home from church beneath the moonlight, Susan suddenly collapsed. Her body trembled badly. Samson stepped back in fear. Then before his eyes, Susan transformed into the same strange hyena and ran into the forest. Samson stood frozen in shock. The next morning, Susan disappeared out of shame. But Samson searched for her until he found her hiding beside the river. With tears in her eyes, Susan confessed everything. Together they returned to Maryam, and for the first time the full truth was finally spoken aloud. By then, Susan's father had died. Only Maryam remained carrying years of guilt in her heart. If you are finding this video interesting, please like and subscribe. They searched for Baba Jigi Jigi everywhere, but nobody could find him. Some villagers claimed he had died long ago. Others believed he was never fully human. An elder later spoke quietly. There are only two endings to such a curse, he said. Either the girl dies or the spirit leaves. Most people lost hope, but Samson refused to give up. For many years he prayed and fasted for Susan. Night after night, Susan struggled badly. Sometimes she ran into the forest. Sometimes strange sounds come out from her throat. But Samson stayed beside her. One night during intense prayers, Susan screamed loudly and collapsed to the ground. Then suddenly, everything became quiet. For the first time in years, Susan slept peacefully through the night. The curse was gone. Months later, Susan and Samson got married. Years passed peacefully. They had two children together. And finally, Susan lived the life her mother had always dreamed of. But even today, in the distant villages beneath the African moonlight, old people still tell the story of the girl who became a hyena at night. Many believe it is only a folktale, but some elders still lower their voices before saying, "Be careful what you seek in the dark, because every gift comes with a price." If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And make sure you turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever there is another story for you. Thank you.